This is the story of a poor potter's daughter named Miriam, who was renowned throughout her village for her exceptional pottery skills. She used to create beautiful clay pots with her own hands, but one day, all her hard work was shattered when a young horse rider dressed like a prince in white rode by and crushed all her pots. For Miriam, it felt like a deep shock. Still, she didn't lose hope. She gathered the courage to confront the rider and asked him to compensate for her loss by giving her his ring. The young man laughed at first, but when he saw the tears welling up in her eyes, he silently handed over his precious ring. That ring felt like a reward to Miriam, but when she returned home, she realized she had lost it along the way. She felt cursed by her fate. Later that night, her younger brother Samir surprised her by finding the ring and bringing it back. Miriam was overjoyed. Her family's condition was miserable. Her father used to make clay pots, but he had fallen ill and could no longer work. The responsibility of running the house now rested on Miriam's shoulders. She mastered pottery and, through her hard work, earned respect and recognition throughout the village. One day, Zahid, the son of a wealthy man, saw Miriam's craftsmanship. Impressed, he assured her that her pottery would sell well in the city's fair. Hope sparked in Miriam's heart, and she worked with renewed energy. But fate had other plans. Once again, she encountered the same mysterious horse rider. This time, he came to repay her loss. But Miriam had many questions in her heart. Now, he frequently appeared near Miriam not to harm her, but leaving money in her hands instead. Miriam couldn't understand who he was or why he kept coming back. Miriam believed in hard work. One day, she decided to sell her pottery in a nearby village. She left early and spent the whole day going from house to house, pleading, "Aunt, please buy this pot," or "Uncle, look at this clay glass I made myself." But no one bought even a single piece. Exhausted and heartbroken, she sat down in despair, wondering what the use of her hard work was. Tears welled up as darkness began to fall, and fear crept into her heart about returning home alone. Suddenly, she heard the sound of horse hooves. When she turned, her heart sank. It was the same young man in white, riding towards her. Fear gripped Miriam. He stopped his horse and said gently, "You look very disappointed today." Miriam didn't respond. Then he said, "There's a settlement nearby where people are desperate for clay pots. If you go there, all your pots will sell instantly." Miriam doubted his intentions. Why was he helping her? But she had no other option. The young man dismounted and offered his hand. "Come, I'll take you there." Scared but helpless, Miriam followed him on foot. Fear accompanied her every step. After a while, they reached the settlement. Miriam was shocked to see men in white and women in black robes all staring at her strangely. The young man spoke to them silently, and suddenly the women gathered around Miriam, buying her pots, and not just buying but paying her well. Miriam was overwhelmed in minutes. All her pots sold out. She looked at the young man, who was still gazing at her. There was something in his eyes that made her heart race. Night fell, and Miriam grew anxious to return home. She requested, "Please take me back, it's too late." He smiled, "Don't worry, I'm here to drop you home." For Miriam, it felt like a dream. For the first time, she liked him. At home, her parents anxiously waited. Her mother scolded her, "I won't let you go alone again. You know you and Samir are our only support." Miriam smiled and placed the money in her mother's hand. Seeing so much money, both parents were shocked. Her father laughed, "My Miriam is truly an expert now. People love her pottery." Miriam smiled silently but didn't reveal the truth about the mysterious young man. The next day, she immersed herself in her work again. Zahid informed her that her pots would be displayed at the upcoming university festival. Excited, Miriam doubled her efforts. But suddenly, the mysterious young man appeared again, up this time, angry. "Why were you talking to that man?" he asked. Miriam was confused but realized he meant Zahid. She explained, but jealousy was clear in his eyes. Later, the young man came again, saying, "I want your pots." Miriam told him they were for the festival, but when he offered a good price, she agreed and handed them over. The next day, Zahid came asking for the pots. Miriam panicked but promised to recreate them in 3 days. She worked tirelessly, but fate struck again. A sudden storm washed away everything. Miriam cried the entire night. The festival was only 3 days away, and there was no sign of the rain stopping. On the final night, Miriam sat under a tree in despair. Suddenly, the young man appeared once more. Calmly, he picked up the clay and began molding it into beautiful pots, some more exquisite than anything Miriam had ever seen. When he painted them, it seemed like magic flowed through his hands. In no time, everything was ready. By morning, these will be dry. Smile now, he said, and disappeared into the night. Miriam couldn't sleep, fearing the worst. But in the morning, the pots gleamed brighter than ever. At the festival, Zahid returned with a medal. Everyone loved your pots. Big names praised your work. Everything sold instantly, he exclaimed. Miriam's joy knew no bounds. But now, she had to thank the stranger who had helped her. She went to the usual place, but he was nowhere. She waited for days, but he never appeared. Meanwhile, Miriam's fame spread. She created more beautiful pottery and set out for the same mysterious settlement to sell them. But this time, she got lost. She found an old man and asked him the way. The old man was surprised. Why do you want to go there? Outsiders aren't allowed. She told him about her previous visit. The old man examined her pots and smiled. These are beautiful. We need them for our feasts. But tell me, who showed you the way? Miriam smiled. A young man on a horse. He often visits our village. The old man sighed. Aha, broken bar the sarder. He roams from village to village. I didn't know he'd guide you here. Miriam didn't understand but followed him. As they entered the settlement, women rushed to buy her pots as if they had been waiting for her. But Miriam only sought the young man. She asked the woman, where is he, the one who brought me here? The woman smiled. The sarder is in another village, performing a special ritual. Why are you looking for him? Miriam was stunned. A sarder. Just then, the sound of horse hooves echoed. She turned, and her face lit up. It was him. The woman and children cleared away, leaving just Miriam and the young man. Miriam smiled. I came to thank you. Because of your pots, I won a big prize. He smiled softly. I can do much more. But I'm bound to you because you have something of mine. What is it? Miriam asked, surprised. The ring, a broken bar. It's mine, he replied. Miriam panicked. Forgive me. I didn't know. I'll return it. He smiled. It's okay. Just know, whenever you need me, I'll be there. Miriam's heart swelled with joy. Her pots sold out again, and he escorted her home. But along the way, they meet the old man again. The young man stopped, turned to Miriam, and said, you know the way from here. I must go. Miriam watched as he disappeared before her eyes. As she passed the old man, he stopped her. I'm happy your pots sold. But don't be foolish and don't go back to that place again. Why, Baba? Isn't it just a normal village? She asked. The old man took a deep breath. No, you're a broken bar. That's not a normal village. A broken bar. It's a land of jinns.